I'm getting the hang of this, going live in Facebook groups by doing this live streaming thing. It's so technical, and usually there's some hitch or another, but we've managed to get in there. We are live. I can see that we're live. Hello to everybody. Welcome to the Glow Club. My guest expert this week is just such a wonderful lady with so much wisdom. I'll tell you more about her in a moment. If you're here live, say hello. I have got my trusty phone by my side so that I can check on any comments and questions that are coming through. If you're here on replay, please put in #replay so that I can see that you've joined us and watched this interesting conversation this evening. And if you have got any questions after the fact, please put them in there and I will be checking those questions and we will be answering them to the best of our ability. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the wonderful Jolene Taylor. We're not related, we just have the same surname. But Jo, I'm just so happy to welcome Jo to the Glow Club. She is one extremely busy lady. She's a mum, she's a dog mum, she's a gym owner, a nutritionist and a mindset coach. Wow, just blows my mind that you have the time to do all of those things. It's Jo's mission to support, empower and inspire women to be the very best version of themselves. She has helped hundreds of women to improve their mindset and confidence, learn to love fitness and to have a positive relationship with food. Jo, welcome to the Glow Club. Thank you so much for being here and dedicating some time to us this evening. How are you doing?
I'm good, lovely. Firstly, thank you for having me. Absolute pleasure to be in here. So yeah, thank you. No, I'm good. I'm super good.
So healthy habits. What are we talking about? What are we gonna enjoy this evening?
So in terms, I'm hugely passionate about stacking habits and about starting small. And I think it goes in any arena. So whether that is mindset, whether we're talking skincare, mental health, I'll scale it back. I'll use the example because it's kind of my lane and what I do in terms of health and fitness, but we can apply it to any area. So for many people, when we first start anything, we go all in. And for many of us, we have an all or nothing approach. And often we can fall at the first hurdle. Now, not everybody, but if anyone's watching this live and it seems kind of, if what I'm saying resonates, let Jackie know in the comments. And if you're watching it on replay, pop a little hands up and be like, yep, this sounds familiar. So for many people, in terms of whether it's weight loss or fitness, there's a small percentage of people that can run with like a diet plan. So you can give somebody a plan, they'll follow it to the letter, and absolutely they'll slay it. But for many other of us, myself included, we can sometimes find a massive change, whatever that is, so completely overwhelming that we struggle to see it through. And then all these other things come in, and I'll talk about it later, like self-sabotage and procrastination and things like that. So what we do is we'll start something, but we won't see it through. So like the diet starts on Monday and then it's over by Wednesday. And the only thing in my experience that really gets results that last, so not even just short-term results, is healthy habits. And that's starting small and being consistent. So that's where the habits come in.
Fantastic. I'm one of those all or nothing people. I go in hook, line and sinker, hammer and tongs, and then I suddenly think, oh, and then I start finding that I fall off the wagon, and I get so frustrated with myself because it's kind of like I've just been doing this for the last 6 months. I know I can do it. I've been doing it for the last 6 months, but all of a sudden those sweet treats come back in or whatever, and it's kind of, so sometimes I think doing the smaller things, step things are actually far more beneficial than saying, well, hey, I'm in.
I'll let you into a secret. So I say to my clients, to my members, that motivation is a myth. So if anybody watches this, or anyone that knows me ever sees this on replay, I'm going to sound like a broken record, because I absolutely say motivation's a myth. So it kind of gets you so far. You know, in January, when everybody goes new year, new me, and by February, most of the people have given up. So as a gym owner in January, I tend to see people come in and they say, right, I'm having never been to a gym before. So already they're kind of starting off with the bar really, really high. And you've got to keep up at that level, which is really, really difficult. And they say, right, I'm going to come and train 6 days per week. And I always say, maybe we should just start with 1 or 2 and build it up to 3. And let's just get that habit a consistent habit. But what they'll do, and again, if this resonates with anybody, we start off 6 days a week. And then what happens is maybe we become ill, or we get the muscle soreness, or one of our kids become ill, or we have more shifts at work, or, we start having problems at home, our stress levels increase, we become ill. And then something stops and we can't make those 6 days a week. So instead of just going, you know what, I'll just do 1 or 2, or I'll have a rest this week and then next week we'll try again, we just give up because it's so hard to keep it at the level that we set the bar. So that is where healthy habits are absolutely a godsend, because we just structure them in a way that works for us. So if you, for example, wanted to lose weight, I always say to my clients, let's pick a goal. So it may be that you, as we're in here, want to improve your skin. And Jackie, I know I'm going to say this word wrong. You're going to start using a gua sha. Have I said it
No,
right?
perfect, spot on.
Instead of, so whatever your end goal is, so if you want to have a good skincare practice, or whether you want to change your diet, so you're not going to say, right, I'm going to gua sha for an hour every single day. If already you don't have that hour in your day, that might be your end goal, that you want to have a good skincare practice, or you want to drop a couple of dress sizes, you want to feel better in yourself, you want to start a meditation practice. Whatever the end goal is, we look at maybe changing just 2 habits initially, because we have good habits and we have bad habits. You want to improve your sleep, you want to get up earlier, but we start with the 2 things. So let's look at something like, let's drink more water and let's get out for a walk for 30 minutes a day. So people might think, well, what's that going to do in terms of weight loss? What's that going to do for my skincare? And it's almost carving out that period of time. So you're carving out your 30 minutes a day, so it becomes a habit, and you're drinking more water. Because for many people, they'll say, oh, I do drink some water. But when you say, well, how do you know how much you're having if we're not kind of tracking it? So it's saying, look, let's aim for a couple of liters a day if you're not, if you're not drinking a lot. So let's slowly, because otherwise you're going to be running to the toilet all of the night. Nobody wants that. So it's just implementing it slowly and then increasing it over. So if you give yourself sort of a 6 week cycle, so by the end of the 6 weeks, we're going to be drinking 3 liters of water and we're going to be getting out for an hour a day. But we don't do that from the off. We start small and then we build. We look at where we can attach that habit. So take water, for example. If somebody doesn't drink water till the afternoon and they like to have a good couple of coffees in the morning, let's attach it and stack that to an already existing habit. Get your water intake in the morning. The same for going out. It may be that you're a really busy person and you really struggle to find that half an hour. Can you walk to work? Can you walk in your lunch hour? Can you walk the dog? So it's not even thinking that far ahead, saying, oh, I want to do 10,000 steps. Let's take it back a few and let's go, look, let's just walk for half an hour, carve out that time, see where we go, and we can always build from there.
Fabulous. So for an example then, so I am a coffee drinker. I literally have 1 coffee a day, but I'm not great at drinking water. But what I could actually do is, if I made my coffee and poured a glass of water, say that I have to drink both. So I've attached my new habit to my existing habit. Would you say that's something that would work?
Yeah, absolutely. As I say to all my ladies, so we start, where can we attach it? So if it's something like drinking more water, so before you have, because that morning coffee is the one that touches your soul, isn't it? Like, coffee in the morning. It's just the be all end all. So before you have that morning coffee, get yourself a glass of water. Or if you like hot water, some people don't like cold water, so I always have a hot water before I have my coffee, and then I
I've
know,
actually,
right, I've got one in.
I've actually got into drinking herbal teas cold, which is wonderful.
Hey,
Yeah,
are they
so
nice?
I'm very much into this. This is a habit I've created for
Mhm.
myself. I'm very much into sort of ginger tea, sort of those
Mm.
the spiced teas, not fruity
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Um, and one day I accidentally put my water bottle in the fridge at work. So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I was looking for my water bottle and I couldn't find it, and I was looking forward to my hot tea, and of course when I got to it, it was cold, and I thought, oh, this is going to be horrible. But it was so nice that I only drink them cold now. So
Isn't that weird? I've never had it. I see it in the supermarkets that they have herbal tea that you can drink cold, and I thought, I mean, I'm not going to knock it till I've tried it, but yeah,
yeah,
and
I
that
mean,
works. That can be as well.
I am a little bit of a sweet toothy person, so I drop a couple of drops of stevia in there, so that
Yeah,
it's just like it's an alternative to very sugary squash, if you like.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
like a sweet treat. And
so
that's another thing with balance as well. So I think many people, especially talking about diets or overhauling their nutrition, again, they think they have to give up all the good stuff. And that's when it's hard because all you think about all day long is the very thing you can't have. And
yeah,
it's looking at where can we make healthy swaps. So it may be on a Saturday night, you like to sit down, watch a bit of Netflix and chill, glass of wine, big bag of Doritos, big bag of peanut M&Ms. We've all been there. And it's like, how can we change it? I'm human. We do this. So maybe you can get the small bottles of wine. You like the bottle in a glass.
yeah,
You can have a grab bag of Doritos, and you can just have a single size packet of M&Ms. So you don't have to give it up, but it's looking at where can we change the habit and make it slightly healthier, but still enjoy life. It is about balance.
yeah, absolutely. Because I kind of, as I said to you, I always do things in extreme. And then I find that I've done a couple of things in the past where I've gone extreme, had brilliant results, but
Yeah,
it's so difficult to maintain it. Um,
yeah,
you know, um,
absolutely.
particularly for weight loss with me. I dairy is something I shouldn't be eating, but
Yeah,
it's the thing I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to
yeah.
dairy, and I find it very, very hard to cut it out. And I can for a certain period of time. I'm going to ask
Hmm.
you how to handle this actually. So
Yeah,
I
that's
cut
me.
it out for a period of time, and I don't need it at all. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I will have this overwhelming craving for cheese that is just so.
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever had a moment in my life where I haven't craved cheese ever. Um, and I will, and in work there's a block of cheese in the fridge that you can go and have a little
Who
bit. And I
put that
oh,
in there?
a little bit won't hurt, but that little bit's turned into a daily like brick.
Yeah,
And it's kind so
yeah,
so when you've got a bad habit,
yeah,
like that is a bad habit,
yeah.
what would you recommend to overcome that
Hmm.
absolute? Because I've got, it's not that I haven't got any willpower, it's like it literally overtakes me, right? It
Yeah. So
literally overtakes me, and I can think of nothing until I've had a piece of cheese. And that is literally what it's like. I can think of nothing until
yeah,
I've had that flavor of cheese. It is an absolute addiction.
yeah.
It's like an addiction to alcohol, addiction to I have an addiction to cheese.
It's my
What can
peanut M&M addiction.
Yeah. So what kind of habits could I adopt to try and
Yeah,
overcome that addiction,
yeah.
that feeling?
So a couple of things. So in terms of the very thing you said, where you hit the nail on the head, was I can give it up completely. So if you don't have any allergies and you're okay to eat it and there's no bad reaction, you don't have to give it up. If it's the thing, so for me, it used to be brie, or so I know exactly where you're coming from, brie or camembert. There'd be a certain type of cheese, and I couldn't just have a little bit. So if I've got a bit of cheddar or baby bell in the fridge, I can kind of give or take it. But when you have that very thing, there's not a lot for me that does it. Peanut M&Ms are the very thing. So in our house, there's a rule that we don't have the grab bags. Like we just have the single size servings. Um, but with that, it's almost like, how do we reduce it? So when you say, I'm not going to have it, all you then do is think about that thing you're not going to have. So instead, the block of cheese that's in the fridge at work, does that belong to you or somebody else?
No, it's basically they do a thing where they put stuff out that people can just have for their lunch, so it's
Oh,
for
okay.
everybody, you know.
Okay.
So it's there every day. There's
Yeah.
fruit, there's biscuits,
But it's
there's
the cheese that's the thing. So
overall
what we
leftover
so it's not
bakery bit of cheese.
so it's not cutting it out completely, because I think the thing is, when you completely give something up that you enjoy, that's when you really want it. And that's when you haven't had something for so long, then the urge to continue to eat it, rather than just having a little bit, you can't just stop, can you? You then tend to eat all the cheese. So it's how can you manage it in small bits, and with habit stacking, so you can attach it to something else. So it may be, if there's other stuff in the fridge, you have a small slice of cheese with something. You have a small bit of cheese with a glass of water. So you're attaching it onto a good habit. So you're not having the whole block because you're telling yourself, I shouldn't be eating this. You're saying, you know what, I'm going to enjoy this piece of cheese. I'm going to do it in my water, or I'm going to have my walk in my lunch hour if you get one, come back and have a little bit of cheese. The other thing, so when we do our healthy habits challenge inside my group, there's one thing that we do, and that's accountability. So whether that is somebody's children, their partner, their family members, friends, or work colleagues, it's having a little bit of accountability. So it may be saying to your work colleagues, look, I'm going to have a little bit of this cheese, but just I'm not having any more than this. So I'm going to be accountable. So whether it's putting £1 in a jar, whether it's buying somebody a drink after work, whether it's kind of like some kind of shame on the fridge with, a little tick chart of how many days in a row you've had the cheese, but it's having that accountability. So that's something that helps with habits.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. I'm going to have to. I think what I'll do is I'll attach it to drinking water, and
Yeah.
because I know that drinking water can fill you up, and after the water, I might not want the cheese. If you see what I
Could you
mean.
as well, depending on if other people have it, it's whether or not you can segment it so you're not having it, because what happens is sometimes um, we say to ourselves, we see foods as good and as bad, and we almost like attach an emotion and a label to it. So when we feel like we've had too much cheese, so even though cheese is, it's good in protein, it's good calcium, good for your bones, good for muscle repair and tissues and things, we see it as quite high in fat and high in salt. So we attach a label with, well, it's quite calorific, so it's bad. So instead of seeing something as good or bad, there's then no guilt attached to it. And then you have a different relationship with the cheese. So it's
Yeah.
seeing it in a different light almost. And if you can segment it, if you're the only person in work that tends to eat the cheese,
No.
and there's no, I don't know, and there's no attachment to it, and you're just like, you know what, however big it is, I'm going to cut this up into 7 bits, and I'll have a little bit each day after my water and after my walk. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then there's no attachment to it. There's no seeing it in a negative light. It's just a snack that you're having, maybe with some fruit, maybe with some nuts, maybe with some veg sticks. So you can take that in with you and then have that with your snack.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's. I'm going to give that a try. I can, but try. I mean, I don't eat the whole. I mean, it's a huge, blooming, great big family-sized block of cheese because it's got to
Yeah,
feed 100. There's 150 people
yeah.
in the building, and everybody. That in itself, really, everybody's handling that cheese. That should put me off.
That's where the accountability comes in, just like if somebody sees me hovering near this cheese, somebody else has got to eat this cheese.
Yeah.
You'll be paying someone else to eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Or
you could
just
put a
don't.
post in your
I
group.
mean, I've got to get to the point where I just don't open the fridge. It's as simple as that.
You could put a post in your group, in the group that we're in now, and so today I'm not going to have any cheese, and if I do, I've got to share it in the group. And your members can keep you accountable.
Oh, I know. It's just it's yeah, cheese fiend. I've,
I
I've been like it ever since.
get it.
Apparently, when I was 2 years old, um, I vaguely remember it. It's one of my first memories. My mum bought this huge block of cheese, and I can remember looking at her buying it in Sainsbury's and thinking, oh, cheese. I have a distinct memory. And she went, when we got home, she'd unpacked the shopping. The phone rang. She went to answer the phone. She came back and found me with my head in the fridge, munching on this huge big block of cheese.
It's been there since the early days.
Life. It's been there all my life. Anyway, I've talked far too long about cheese.
I love food, Jackie. We talk about it all day.
I know. Food is fabulous, and it's to be enjoyed. And I think, particularly as I'm again talking for myself, but I think people will relate to this as menopausal women. I'm at that age. There's so many things we tell ourselves, we restrict ourselves with, right? Because, we're trying to keep ourselves, we naturally gain a little bit of weight as we get older. And we're constantly sort of thinking, oh, I've got a hot flash, I look terrible. I've gained a bit of weight, I look terrible. And we're constantly berating ourselves with stuff. So what habits would you recommend for somebody in that a menopausal woman who's struggling with those kinds of things?
Yeah. So firstly, I think as women anyway, like that's a huge superpower. And I think we all need to just take a little bit of a step back, kind of put our hands on our hearts and kind of a few deep breaths and sort of say, be kind to yourself, give yourself a little bit of credit. I think sometimes we all judge ourselves too harshly. We can be very negative towards ourselves, especially as we're going through, whether it's perimenopause or menopause. And it's just that's the first thing. So be a little bit kind, tune into your body. What do I need today? What's going to make me feel good today? And it's listening to that. So all too often we're very go, go, go. And in terms of habits, so as we go through that cycle, we have a massive change in our hormones. So our estrogen levels, depending if we're perimenopausal or menopausal, they'll either surge and drop dramatically, or they'll drop and they'll stay there. So in terms of what habits you can implement, the first thing is individually ask yourself, what do I need today? How am I feeling? Like really tune into your body. And I think that's, quite a spiritual weirdo anyway. But I think that not often enough do we tune into that. So that's the first thing, kind of asking yourself what you need. Second thing, in terms of healthy habits, being kinder to ourselves. So things like, and this will benefit you, having a self-care practice. So whether that's setting aside even 10 minutes a day, massaging in some skincare, really doing those things that make you feel good. In terms of weight loss, absolutely, it's harder because what happens is the hormones that are responsible for our muscle mass tend to decline. So as we go into menopause, before we get there, when our bodies are at rest, we burn calories, we burn energy, even sat here talking. As we go through menopause, how much energy we burn when we're just sat still, not doing anything, drops. And that's because we have less muscle tissue. Because of our hormones doing this, our cortisol levels raise, so we get more stressed. So that makes it difficult to burn calories because we're going to fight or flight mode. So all of those things have a big impact. So healthy habits that we can do, things that we can reduce our stress levels. So can we delegate tasks to other people? So whether that's your partner, can they do a little bit more to support you? Whether that's your work colleagues, is there anything they can do to take the slack? Can you get a self-care practice? Would meditation help? What can we do to reduce our stress levels? Whether that's setting boundaries with people. So it could be all manner of things. Second thing, when it comes to health, healthy habits. So high impact stuff as we go into menopause, probably not so great for our joints because, again, our bone density reduces. So you don't want to be jumping around like a mad person or running on heavy roads with high impact. So strength training, absolutely brilliant. Again, if it's something you've never done before, slowly, slowly. So if it's something you're interested in, start once a week, carve out that time, build to twice a week, and then go from there. Eating more protein, so cheese, um, meat, nuts, fish, chicken, dark berries for some good antioxidants. And again, start small. You don't have to go out and buy a massive healthy food shop. It may be that actually for breakfast, you're just going to change your breakfast. And you're drinking your water. And then next week you go, right, I'm going to incorporate a little bit more protein. So I might track my protein, not so bothered about calories. I'm just going to see if I can get some protein, increase my protein intake. And it's just starting small and not setting that bar too high. And then once you get the consistency under your belt, that's when I'd move on to a new habit. So until you can consistently drink more water, carve out your 30 minutes a day, whether it's your skincare, your meditation, your boundary setting, whatever it is, once that becomes a habit, done. It takes 21 days for a new habit to form and become ingrained.
Right. So it's literally doing something one at a time.
100%.
Do something 21 days. When you feel real comfortable with that one, I guess you can stack it on top of the habit that you've just formed as well. So
yeah. And it's momentum. So always another thing I say to my ladies is celebrate the small wins. Again, as women, we do things because almost it's in society, it's a given that women can just do this thing. But sometimes we need to celebrate the small wins. So for me, and again, let's take weight loss. For many people, they might go to slimming groups and they have their place. It's not good or bad. I'm not going to sort of go into that. And people will stand on a set of scales. And in the first week, everybody loses the water weight and everyone's clapping their hands and they're like, yeah, we've lost 6 pounds this week. Well done. Brilliant. And as we get sort of 4, 5, 6 weeks in and the water weight's gone, and then it becomes the body fat that we're losing, that's harder. It takes, a lot more for the physical fat to drop. And especially when we, hit into our menopausal years. So what we do is we step on the scales and either we've gained weight or we've not lost any weight. And that's seen as a failure. But you may have made progress in other areas. Your clothes feel looser, your skin looks healthier because you're implementing good practices and you're eating better food. You may feel less irritable because you've changed your diet. You might feel less anxious. You may be fitter because you can now run up a flight of stairs without getting out of breath. All of these things are still little wins, but because the needle on the scales hasn't moved, we don't see it as progress. But by celebrating those small wins, that's what gives you momentum. And when you get momentum, that's the driver that keeps you moving forward.
Yeah, that's one of the things I did an eating program or a lifestyle program last year, and I had to get onto the scales and measure myself. But I actually said that as soon as I actually finish the program, I'm going to do it once a month, not once a week.
Yeah.
Because you get too hung up on the number, and the number is the smallest part of actually being on a weight loss program.
Yeah.
And
It's good to have data. It's good to have data, Jackie. So at the start, it's good to go, look, stand on those scales. And I know sometimes people have a fear of doing it and taking your measurements. And then again at the end, just so you've got some kind of comparison. But like you say, it's a small indicator of progress.
Yeah, it's like with face yoga. You do everybody thinks the exercises, and yes, they are incredibly powerful, and yes, you will see results, but it's all the other things that you do, your skincare, the massage, the energy work that you do, and absolutely more than anything, the lifestyle changes you make that will actually make up the bigger part of your face yoga practice. So it's really interesting talking to you, because it kind of has given me the opportunity to actually say that out loud, because a lot of people come to face yoga just because they've seen the exercises on YouTube, but it's
a journey, isn't it?
that.
It's a not just the before and after, it's that journey in between, and like you say, it's a skincare, almost like the breathing. It's a slowing down your body when you're doing your face yoga and your facial massage, and it's giving yourself the time you deserve, and on some subconscious energetic level, you're telling your cells in your body, you know, I'm worthy, I deserve to do this. And that again has a shift in your mindset, in how you hold yourself, in how you feel about yourself. And it's not until you're going along this journey that you look back to see how far you've come and you go, wow, when I
Yeah.
started face yoga 6 months ago, I didn't feel how I feel now.
Well, this is it. When I started, it was just the exercises because I'd lost a lot of weight and I had some sagginess. But the more I went into it, the more I've changed the way I eat. I've changed
Mhm,
I've completely changed my skincare brand, everything.
mhm.
My lifestyle now couldn't be more different than it was
Yeah.
4 years ago. So it's been a fascinating journey, and although I go in whole hog,
Yeah.
what I have learned is that sometimes my best results have been through just doing it small and creating a habit.
And
Um,
also, we're something I tell my ladies as well, that we kind of laugh about. But when you're on your journey, we talk about, and like you say, whether it's skincare, diet, meditation, sleep, whatever, fitness, anything, is the journey, we say we fall on and off a wagon. So sometimes we use that terminology. But if we reframed how we looked at that and we were actually the drivers of our own wagon, so the end goal is our journey or the destination, sorry, and the destination will always be the same. So we can have big goals and big dreams. And we look forward 12 months' time and we say, in 12 months' time, this is my big goal. So this is how Jackie in 2025 wants to show up, living her best life. Now, to get from, even though it's only 6 months away, I don't know where the year's gone,
it's
but to
mad.
get from, it's mental, isn't it? To get from now until 2025, all the stuff you'd need to do seems so overwhelming. The destination seems so far away. But when we drive our own wagon, we're kind of in charge of where we go. So yes, you can take the direct route, but sometimes there's bumps in the road and sometimes the sat nav reroutes and we fall off. We get back on and we're just in charge of how we do it. So if we have a bad week or a bad day, it's just that and it's okay. And I think that's where the habits come in, that when you live by healthy habits instead of doing all or nothing, if we have a bad week, we go, you know what? That's okay. I'm going to get back on my wagon. I'm going to change course, but the end goal is still the same. And we just look, how can we break it down? Do we need to break it down into smaller goals? So it may be we look at 6 months ahead and we go, that still seems like that I'm not quite there yet. So, okay, what can we do over the next 4 weeks that will move me closer to my big goal? So, Jackie's 2025 self, what can you do in the next 4 weeks that will move you just that little bit closer? How do you want to show up? And what two habits, I wouldn't even go mental, what two habits can you start implementing today or tomorrow? Because it's always manana
Just made
to work
myself
closer
laugh.
to it.
It's like, don't eat all the cheese.
Get a picture of you in your work uniform and pop it on the fridge and go,
Yeah,
see this lady. Don't let her eat the cheese.
yeah. Oh dear, sorry.
That's all right.
Stop,
Don't think
stop.
all about cheese tonight.
Oh dear, this is I love sort of conversations like this. I love the spontaneity of just talking and seeing what comes up.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
I'm gonna put you. What habits have you formed through? Because obviously
Mm.
you've been doing what you do for a while, and you've created many habits, I should imagine, in your health journey. But what would you say are the key things that you've adopted that have actually made really impactful changes?
So if I kind of can I go off on a tangent and tell a story just to give a bit of
Yes,
context?
yes, please
Is that
do.
okay?
Yeah.
So many people who don't know me or have only known me in the last sort of 8 to 10 years. So my fitness journey is still fairly new compared to some people. So years and years ago, I had a really unhealthy relationship with food. I think at my lowest weight, I weighed less than 5 stone. I don't know what that is in kilos or pounds. I think like I grew hair all over my body, my teeth were falling out, and pretty much my body was shutting down to die. I went the other way, where once I had food, I couldn't stop eating. So in a whole sitting, I'd eat whole boxes of cereal, whole loaves of bread, whole pasta bakes, and blame the dog. Um, and I had a very my relationship with food was either one way or it was another. And then I'd be bursting out of size 18 clothes. So I'd go from on my deathbed to absolutely, there was never a middle ground. Same for fitness. So now I can lift over 100 kilos. I can probably outlift many guys. I eat around 3,000 calories a day. I absolutely love food. And I know that food is fuel and it nourishes my body to be able to do all of the stuff. Um, but it wasn't always that way. So I'd go from one extreme to another, and then something had to give. And it was healthy habits, one thing at a time. Same for fitness. It was a standing joke. I couldn't even run to the toilet without getting a stitch. So, you know, I, I'm the same as anybody else. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. So it is absolutely starting small. It's going, right, what one thing can I change that will move me close to my goals? So for me, I keep it simple. I have the same breakfast every single day because then there's no stress thinking about it. So I have my cocoa oats, my berries, my yogurt, my nuts, cinnamon, bit of honey, jobs are good in every single day. My eggs and toast. Like I'm kind of boring. I have a good evening meal with some variety and stuff. But keep it simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't overcomplicate stuff. The same for fitness. I only train 3 days a week. Any more, if I can do four, it's a bonus. But I kind of have the ethos of training smarter and not harder. So I don't need to, even though I have a gym and I could be there 24/7, family's really important to me. So I love spending time with my family and my dogs. And so I'd rather just train smart, 60 minutes, 3 times per week. I work hard and I absolutely fuel myself with goodness because we have one body and we just have to treat it with respect. And for so many years, I didn't. Um, that's what I needed to do. I think I started doing my energy healing work in around, I don't know, lockdown's a blur to me,
Yeah.
2021, maybe, let's say. Um, and there came a point again. So I'm a great believer in practicing what you preach, but a little bit along the way, I lost my way and I was putting everybody first. So I was training clients in the gym, running classes, doing in person energy healing, online energy healing, writing nutrition plans, and I forgot about myself. So I was a bit of a crap mum, a crap partner, had a constant sinus infection, um, and I just lived off freezer food. Um, I stopped training for months on end and I just was really ill. And then in December, I couldn't get out of bed for 10 days. And for me to not get out of bed, like I was on my deathbed. Um, so I said to myself, this has to change. And at that point, it's like, right, we draw a line in the sand and we start again. So for many of my ladies, we talk about the F-it switch. I won't swear on here. And all too often we hit that switch, but we change the ethos and we call it the reset button. So I hit the reset button and I said, right, let's get back to the gym, but I'm only going to go once a week. So for the whole of January that following year, I just went once. And that was my habit ticked off. Didn't put any pressure. There wasn't any hurdles to jump. I didn't need to fall because I only went once. In February, I went twice. I think by the spring, a couple of years ago, I got it to 3 times consistently. But that absolutely, if anybody's watching this, start slow. Same for my food. It was just a good breakfast, a good lunch. Dinner was still a bit crap, not going to lie. And again, it took a couple of months. But if I tried to go to the gym in January after coming back from that, 4 days a week, eating all the good food, it never would have happened. So always healthy habits. And a really big thing, boundaries. I know we're talking about healthy habits, but in order to kind of show up as your best self, we need to see ourselves, our health, our fitness, our mindset, our energy as a priority. Because then when we're working well and we're firing on all cylinders, everything else falls into place. But until we start setting those boundaries with other people and drawing a line in the sand, it's hard for people to overstep the mark because there's no mark that they can see. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I hope that
No,
kind of
not
ties
at
in.
all, because I think one of the most important healthy habits you can create is boundaries,
Mm,
actually. Because, we I don't think I think women are pretty bad at setting boundaries.
we are.
I think we are pretty bad at setting boundaries. Saying no is not easy. And actually, if we're looking after ourselves and looking after our health, then no has to become a word that
And
we
it's a
feel
full stop at
comfortable.
the end of it. It's a full stop, isn't it? I think,
Exactly. It
yeah,
has to be something we become more comfortable with. That doesn't mean saying it in a rude or horrible kind of way. It's just
no,
saying, actually going truly into your heart space and saying, right here, right now, I haven't
yeah,
got space to do this for you.
yeah. And
So
it's just no
I
thank
actually
you,
need
isn't it?
to go inward and look after myself for a minute. So for the moment, I'm going to say no. That doesn't mean never, but for right
Yeah.
here, right now, I have to say no. And I think we, as women, have to get a little bit stronger at saying that.
No thank you is a complete sentence
Yeah.
without justification. But it takes a
Yeah.
long time. And again, that's a healthy habit to practice. So it's looking for the week ahead. Where do I, and again, sitting with it, hand on heart, where do I need to set boundaries this week? What do I need to say no to? And that's it. It's no thank you. And for many of us, we have to justify our no thank you, but we
Yeah.
can just have a full stop there. You don't need justification.
No, absolutely. This has been fab. Is there anything else healthy habit wise that we haven't covered? We've covered food, we've covered exercise, we've covered boundaries.
Yeah. My favorite topic. I love boundaries.
What else
Yeah,
do
I
we
just think
need
it's
to cover?
the same for sleep, it may be. So I know for many people that has a knock-on effect. So say, for example, you want to start doing your exercise in the morning or just getting up on time and just feeling better. And again, I'll give examples because I want people to know I'm human, I understand. um, I used to be lastminute.com. Like that was just my name, either budget and scarf. Lastminute.com. That's what
Mhm.
my partner would call me. Because we were always late. Like everything was just such a rush, and the morning routine was the worst. So if there's one healthy habit you can tackle, and again, it has a knock-on effect, is carving out a good morning routine. Again, that comes with the nighttime. So if you can get good quality sleep, that's brilliant self-care. I know it's not easy for everybody, trying to have good quality sleep or rest. But even if you're, say, for example, you late at night, you're on your phone scrolling through social media, it may be not doing that. And then when we get that routine in place, the morning routine just gets a bit easier. You're not rushing around. You can enjoy a coffee in peace. And then you can go about your day without the stress. So it's almost like looking at where do you feel most stressed at the minute and where can we put habits in to help that be a little bit more easier.
Fabulous. That has
That
been
makes sense.
such an interesting conversation.
And just be
Um,
kind to yourself. Just
I
everybody just needs
think
to
that's
be
really
gentle.
important. It's finding that kindness for yourself, and it might just be giving yourself 5 minutes to actually massage your cleanser into your skin, you know,
Absolutely.
or allowing yourself that one coffee in the morning, but attaching
Hmm.
water to it as well.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's just being. I think what I've learned from this actually is that habits don't have to be about beating yourself up. It's not. It's like I've got to make this a habit. It's kind of I've got to make this a
Yeah.
habit. So I've got to do it. I've got to do it. It's actually
Pressure.
the pressure of creating a habit. But what it actually comes down to is I'm doing this habit because I love myself.
And it's
You
got
know.
to feel aligned, hasn't it? That whatever the habit is, so if that's reducing your cheese intake, whatever it is, it's got to feel aligned. It's got to move you closer to your goals. Don't do it for somebody else. It's got to be related to something that will move you forward, or make you feel better in yourself. So whether that's if people don't drink coffee and they drink maybe energy drinks, and I know people find that hard to kind of knock on the head, and it's like, right, where can we replace that with the water? Let's do things one thing at a time, and just starting small. So maybe anybody watching this, sit with it and go, so in the next 4 weeks, what just two That's it, no more. 2 small habits can I do to move me closer to my goals? And what you will find is you'll gain momentum anyway. So you might start with the water and the walk-in, but then you'll go, "You know what? I feel like, taking some time with my skincare tonight. I might have my glass of water next to me as I'm doing my skincare," and you're attaching it onto stuff. You might like to listen to a podcast and go, "I'm shutting the bathroom door, 10 minutes, podcast on, playlist, whatever," you know, you can have a skincare playlist, and
Yeah.
it just becomes a routine. I think it was you said to me, Jackie, was it on a every couple of Sundays? Tell me if I'm saying it wrong, that you have like a full self-care day. So it's not every day, but you really nourish your skin
I did it
quite
yesterday.
intensely.
I
Yeah.
did it yesterday. I did my my skincare, but I did a full gua sha, and then I put my face mask on, and I found some 932 hertz music, or some kind of hertz music on YouTube, and then I
Yeah.
just did a couple of restorative yoga moves with my face mask on, and that, and then
Amazing.
and you know, it completely changed because I've been not gonna lie, I've been a little bit poorly with a sinus infection.
Mm,
So I've felt under the weather over the weekend, and I just
mm,
thought, you know what, I'm going to give myself a boundary, and actually just say,
mhm.
I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to do that, and
Yeah.
change makes a whole lot of difference. Makes a whole lot of difference. But yes, every 2 weeks,
And I guess that didn't start out as something that, how did that come about to become a habit?
face yoga.
Mm,
Literally, I mean, I'm a fully qualified beauty therapist, you know, so I've been doing beauty therapy and skincare for 30 years. But I still, all that, however much I love it, I still never used to do a dedicated routine. It would just be sort of, oh, I could do with a face mask. I could, you know, whereas when I started my face yoga practice, I started doing 3 exercises a day, you know, in that, and then that kind of went into, oh well, skincare, let's actually start putting this into my skincare routine.
yeah.
And then I kind of thought one day, do you know what, I'm going to do a face yoga facial. As you do. And so I
Yeah.
did this whole 90-minute routine, and it's like
Yeah.
every 2 weeks I do my 90-minute face yoga facial routine. um
And now it's become a habit, hasn't it? And I guess it's manageable. You set the time aside, it's doable, you look forward to it, you know it's coming, and it's a healthy habit.
exactly. I've got a couple of, if anybody's interested in the face yoga facial, it's available on my coffee shop, on coffee on the coffee shop. You can go over there and make a donation, and it's there for you.
Amazing. Well, that's
So
good.
anyway, that's my plug. Let's plug you for a minute. Where can people find you? Because you do so many things. You've got the mindset stuff, you've got your gym, you've got the soul gym, haven't you, which is is that your membership?
That's my membership. So that's currently closed at the minute.
Right, okay.
So I open that a couple of times a year, but anybody that wants to, I love connecting with people. So yep, you can find me. So can I say my website? Let people know
Yeah,
how to get
no,
in touch.
say
So
everything, because what I want you to do after this is quickly message me them over, and I will put them in the links around this
perfect.
video.
Yep, so you can connect with me. You can drop me a message on my website, which is jolenetaylor.co.uk. I think I'm at Jolene Taylor Healing on Facebook, at Jolene Taylor Coaching on Instagram, and I've got a free Facebook group. So if anybody has any health, fitness, mindset related questions, feel free to jump in there and ask me. Or I'm in Jackie's group, so you can just tag me in here, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Fabulous. So yeah, if you can get those links over to me, I will make sure that they are linked onto this video and the one in YouTube, so that we get everybody pointed in your direction. I'm just checking,
Just
is
say,
anybody
just say hi.
um Anne has joined us from California. She's driving, and she did say to me she'd be driving home and listening, bless her. Hello, Anne. Thank you for
Hi,
joining.
Anne.
Um,
If you have any questions, then just pop them in the chat, and I can always answer them later.
yeah. So I'm just going to say, has anybody got any questions while we're here? I think we've covered so much.
I'll wait. Yeah, I'll wait if anybody has any questions. Yeah, let me know. But yeah, absolutely. Just start small. Don't reinvent the wheel, and yeah, just one day at a time. And if you have a bad day is just a bad day.
I love that actually. It's basically just write the day off and start again the next day.
100%. I think the issue is when so you can have a couple of bad days. I think when it becomes prolonged and it's a bad week and we're just eating all the food and we're feeling all, feeling really crap, we need to kind of take a step back and go, why do I feel like this? Okay, what can I do? And get back on track. And again, that's something with small goals. So quite often what happens, I'll go off on a tangent and tell me if I'm running out of time.
You're fine.
is is we self-sabotage because we just become overwhelmed because everything gets too much. And again, it kind of links into healthy habits. We just take a step back and go, right, what's manageable for me? It may be drinking 3 liters of water this week just isn't manageable. Scale it back to two. It may be that actually I'm not organized enough this week to leave the house on a full stomach. So you know what? 3 days a week I can manage it. I'll have a good breakfast. I might prep some snacks and take them to work. It's almost just having an awareness and going, right, don't beat yourself up. If you fall off your wagon, you get back on and you just reroute the sat nav and just drive it in a different direction. And don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
That's my one big takeaway. If you could take away anything, don't be so hard on yourself.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Absolutely.
No,
Well, thank you so much for being with us. It's been
pleasure.
wonderful to talk to you, and
Thank you
there's
for
so
having me.
many subjects you could talk about, and I think we've probably covered them all in one session this evening. So please stay on, because I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody who's with us on Facebook. Thank you, everybody who has joined us this evening. If you have any questions or anything, please pop them in the comments under this, and Jo is in this in the Glow Club as well, so I'm sure she'll check it out and see any questions, and I'll try and answer any questions as well. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you very soon.